Great to see you. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm Jestopher, and I'm a co-founder of Amboss Technologies. And what we run is a Lightning Network Explorer, and the Lightning Network Explorer is called amboss.space. And what our little catchphrase is, you can find your edge. So on the website, you'll be able to enter your alias or your public key for your Lightning node. Not sure what's going on. Okay. So with this Lightning Network Explorer, you'll be able to research any of the nodes on the Lightning Network. Currently, there's just over 16,000 nodes on the Lightning Network, and they each have their own personality. So in this talk, instead of focusing inside an individual node, not the hardware, not the software, but really we'll be looking outwards to the Lightning Network, and we see the different players that participate in the Lightning Network. Okay. So generally there are 4 different types of nodes on the network. There's merchants, there's consumers, there's routing nodes, and there are exchanges. So first, for simplicity, I'll talk about merchants. So generally, these are the people that are providing goods and services on the Lightning Network, and they're the ones that are going to be receiving Satoshis through the Lightning Network. Now, receiving payments on Lightning is actually one of the more difficult things to do because it requires that the network allocate a certain amount of Bitcoin towards your destination. And I'll say destination and not drain because commerce happening on Lightning is a good thing. So this is the destination of payments. A lot of merchants, because receiving payments on Lightning is sometimes difficult or non-intuitive, a lot of merchants will choose to use a payment processor. And this payment processor will be able to handle the Lightning Network functions for you. So let's see. Oh, man. So the payment processors out there, I'll just list some off, not meant as an endorsement, but I think they're, let's see, OpenNode.com is one, Globy, and CoinGate. These are all payment processors, and they kind of act as concentrators of the functions of a merchant. So they will be receiving payments in a concentrated fashion. So routing nodes may connect to those destinations and be able to provide that routing service. You might also witness that there's a little bit more competition for providing that routing to that destination. Here they are. If you don't want to use a payment processor and you want to do this yourself, which I would really encourage, we've added a function into amboss.space. That's it. We've added the communities function, so you'll be able to find other merchants on the network. It's a relatively new function, and currently there are 8 members of the merchants community. So these communities, there's at least one point of contact or a chat to kind of let you know about the different techniques to be really good at this. So if you want to actually find some nodes that are doing it themselves, you can also look up BTC Pay. And if you just search BTC Pay on amboss.space, I'm not clicking anything. Just for the record. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I thought we would rotate through all the slides today, so thank you for doing that. Yeah, if you want to find BTC Pay, these are the people that are doing it themselves. BTC Pay is a fantastic product. It's open source, and it enables merchants to do their functions. So I'd encourage you to find some of those and connect to them. Next slide, please. After merchants, I'll be talking about consumers. So consumers at the other end of the economic spectrum, they're going to be sending sats on the Lightning Network and going to be receiving these goods and services. Similar to the merchants, they may decide to delegate these functions to another service. So we'll look at the consumer wallets. Now, these consumer wallets would be Breeze, LNbits, LNTX Spot, as well as Bitcoin Beach. So you can connect to those, and these will be the source of Bitcoin payments on the Lightning Network. So if you're starting off as a, feel free to, let's see. So with these consumer wallets, they'll be, yeah, the source of payments, as I was saying. And let's see. If you're going to do this yourself, and you're going to be running your own node with your own hardware, which I would really encourage, with this, you would think that you might want to open a channel, which is to connect to different entities on the Lightning Network. You would want to open a channel to all of the merchants that you might frequent. But what you quickly find out is you don't have enough Bitcoin to do that. So you can't make all the connections that you would think. Essentially, this is predicting where you're going to pay on the Lightning Network. Now, since it's not realistic and you don't have enough Bitcoin, this is where routing nodes come in. And routing nodes are going to be the ones that are receiving sats and also forwarding these payments on. These routing nodes have organized themselves into communities. And we see different communities that are based around geographical location. So there's like El Salvador nodes. There are also in the Netherlands, there are 4 different communities on Amboss, which is quite surprising for a small country, but it's apparently full of Lightning nodes. So in addition, I might also highlight Diamond Hands. You know, instead of looking at the slides, just go to amboss.space and you'll see the communities. It's, I think it's a beautiful website. Tony over here has done a fantastic job designing the user interface. So as a routing node, you will want to find other people, and this is where the discussions about the economics of Lightning actually happen. So you're going to be looking for destinations for payments. You're going to be finding out like what all is out there. There's 16,000 nodes. How do you find out about them? So on Amboss, you'll be able to go to the node page and be able to research all the data. You can see the fee rates that they charge and also become part of this payment network. Now, routing nodes are actually in competition with each other. So they're going to be competing to drop the fees. And that's a thing that really benefits commerce on the Lightning Network. Right now, what we see is we can underprice a domestic Visa transaction by about 43 times, according to my calculations. So this is, it works, and it's quick, and it's a fantastic community. So you're going to be the ones connecting. The last group that I'll highlight are the exchanges. And the ones that I would highlight for you are Bitfinex, Loop, which is operated by Lightning Labs, and also Boltz Exchange. Now, one would think that exchanges are going to be receiving and sending sats on the Lightning Network. And what we find out in practice is that is not the case. Exchanges have a very specific function on the Lightning Network, and it acts to reverse the flows of payments. So when you're paying to a merchant, for example, depending on the channels open to them, you can continue to send payments, but at some point it's going to fill up and they will no longer be able to receive those payments. Now, using an exchange will actually enable you to deposit those funds from the merchant into the exchange and withdraw that Bitcoin back on chain. And so that functions to reverse those flows so that a merchant can continue to receive payments. Now, this is an interesting function, and what we watch is that the exchanges, those pages, those node pages on Amboss are one of the most frequently visited pages. And we see the market for channel purchases. So this is where I don't know anybody, I'm going to have to buy a channel from someplace on the Lightning Network. Now, since buying channels may not be the most efficient, and you'll actually be able to use some of the exchange functions. Now, some of these are called swap services. Lightning Loop is probably the pristine example of this. So a merchant would be able to use the loop out function and be able to pay Satoshis to the loop server, which would then nearly match that payment on chain. And we'll be able to see that the fee rates being charged kind of equate to a channel purchase. Now, using these exchanges, routing nodes will be able to access some of the arbitrage opportunities that there are on the Lightning Network. So are sats located in the right spots? And getting to witness this is fantastic. So, and I have a fantastic time being a routing node and being able to participate directly in this payment network, as well as it being a private, fun technology to use. I don't know if you guys have been able to pay using Lightning so far on your trip here, but it is a joy to watch that green check mark actually happen in real life. So yeah, let's see. So to recap, we've talked about the merchants that are going to be receiving sats, sending goods. We've talked about the consumers as the source of payments. We've talked about routing nodes, which are improving the connectivity from consumers to merchants. And we've talked about exchanges, which can reverse the flow of payments to make it so that you don't have to open and close channels all the time and can continue to use the same payment network infrastructure. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, James Harris, again from Atlanta. Great product, by the way. I use it all the time. A couple suggestions would be a lot of the content you just shared. If you guys had like really in-depth tutorial, like even a content business, just to help people who are setting up nodes really understand, I think that along with your service would be really helpful. Because if not, you go to YouTube, you other places looking, and you have to keep coming back and forth. And then on the communities, are you taking suggestions for different communities so that it's easy for us to append that, or do y'all just randomly add them every once in a while?
Up until recently, we've been adding those communities manually based on requests, and we've just added that function to amboss.space. So you'll be able to add whatever community you would like, and the two requirements is that you have 2 public keys. So these are going to be the kind of the founders of the Amboss community. And we do have an approval function, so not anyone can join. The people within the community are going to be determining who is welcome. So this gives us an opportunity to, I don't know, be somewhat restrictive. It's really up to the communities. But yes, great point. An in-depth tutorial of all of the tools. There's tons of statistics on each of the nodes. You can see fee rates. You can also see somewhat mathematical indicators of where they fall in the network. As far as betweenness, are they on the shortest path between payment destinations or sources and destinations? Other questions?
Hi. I was wondering if you knew anything about the network architecture here in El Salvador and if there was anything that could be improved about it.
Do I know anything about the network architecture itself?
Yeah, just as far as do we need more liquidity around here? Do we need different liquidity? Anything like that?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I was wondering, with respect to El Salvador and the Lightning Network architecture around here and the channels, do you think there's any room for any kind of improvement there?
I think what I've seen so far is that El Salvador does not have a lot of Lightning nodes. One of the things that I brought on this trip was an extra Raspberry Pi because I would like to see more individual nodes. I think a lot of nodes so far are using payment processors. Ibex Mercado has done a fantastic job here, as well as OpenNode to kind of enable these functions. But I would like to see a lot more hardware deployed here, and looking forward to kind of growing the knowledge base of Lightning functions here in El Salvador.
Hey. Yo, so as far as Lightning routing as a business, as income, a lot of Bitcoin companies, this is like supplemental income. We might be able to generate revenue. How can you possibly forecast how big that could be in the future in Lightning routing as income for a business? And what do you see as a potential of that percentage of your overall business in the future?
It's an interesting question, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to give a detailed answer for that. I see yield, which is a way to describe the income that routing nodes make. So this is going to be based on the amount of Bitcoin that they're able to deploy on the Lightning Network. That yield will be driven by commerce, and it will also be a function of arbitraging between the routing fees that they can charge competitively with other routing nodes and the mempool. So in order to create this infrastructure, you're going to have to make on-chain transactions, which means you're going to have to compete with other nodes or other transactions happening on Bitcoin. Now, if you're able to have your infrastructure set up while the mempool is super hot, where it's expensive to get in a transaction, if you need that instant settlement, a routing node is sitting there waiting. And they've predicted the flow of these transactions. And so the yields may be variable, depending on how good a node is at actually predicting these payment flows. Yeah, so let's see. I'm trying my darndest, but I'm getting about 1% APY. If I'm really good, I can maybe do 1.5%. I would love more Bitcoin to play with, but also what we're seeing is that these routing nodes they provide a really important function, and with some of the tools that Lightning Labs is enabling with these additional macaroons, you may actually be able to provide routing services to other nodes with specific macaroons saying Monday through Friday, you're able to rebalance channels, open channels, close channels, etc., and make certain size payments. So we'll be able to see a pretty fruitful ecosystem emerge, and we'll hopefully be able to see some performance metrics of these nodes in the future, which that's going to be a trade-off because they'll actually need to share additional information, which is by default private on the Lightning Network.
I'm from El Salvador, and I recently got a hardware wallet, and I've been thinking about running my own node. But the thing is, what would be the benefit of running my own node when, for example, because I'm using, for example, Moon to use Lightning? What would be the benefits? For example, I could use my hardware wallet to fund my Moon wallet, right, and use Lightning through that. But what would be the benefit of running my own node, that way?
You may be able to access liquidity cheaper than some of these providers. So, say for example, Moon. Now, I'm not completely familiar with the product, but do you have to? Are you charged a fee when you're receiving payments?
No,
No.
because what they say is that you can connect your own Lightning node, or you can go through their Lightning node. So I go through their Lightning node, and I mean, you just get the Lightning fee.
Okay, excellent. So you may be able to access like cheaper receives, and you also may be able to take ownership of your individual payment network, as well as have your own hardware. So these are like your keys, your coins, and this would be a responsibility and sovereignty upgrade to actually running your own node.
Thank you. You talked a little bit about the yield associated with routing nodes. I'm very interested in the exchange dynamic, operating as an exchange, and what incentives exist for reversing that payment flow. How can I help make that argument?
So on the exchange end, what you could offer is a swap service. So that basically looks like you're able to receive payments as the exchange and also pay out on-chain. But you might want to take into account the pricing of that. So routing nodes will choose fee rates in order to pay to your exchange destination. And we'll see those fee rates be somewhat elevated. So it'll be 0.01% is common, but you can see it go up to 0.04%. That's what we see on Lightning Loop, which is dedicated to this function. But in the past, I've used Bitfinex, so I can deposit Lightning funds onto the exchange and withdraw on chain. But there's a 1% fee right there. Sorry, 0.01%. So I will have to make that fee back in my routing. And if you're able to keep that fee quite low to go from Lightning to Bitcoin, that will reduce the cost of commerce, which is already extremely low. I think most of the routing nodes currently are operating at a loss. And I wish that people were a little bit more thoughtful about like, hey, this is not just a donation to the network, but also like I have an economic interest in being able to provide reliable payments all throughout the network. So smoothing out that payment flow between depositing Lightning and withdrawing on chain would make a fantastic swap service. Please.
Thank you. Great presentation. My name is Carter, and well, here in El Salvador, we're seeing that the use of Lightning has helped a lot of individuals working abroad to send and receive money, right, through the Lightning Network. But we still live in a fiat world, right, where you spend the dollars. Not every country has adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender. So just my thoughts are, do you think that we're going to be seeing in other countries sort of them adopting Lightning technology to send and receive fiat money? I mean, using Lightning as a method of transportation, let's say.
The function hasn't quite been built out from my understanding of having a fiat, which what I imagine you saying is that I'm afraid of the volatility of the Bitcoin price.
Yeah.
And really I want a stable value. From what we've seen from RGB and some other functions, there may be able to have a stable coin in the near future that you could transact on Lightning. So that's much more cutting edge. We're very early. I wish I had a better answer for you for people afraid of the volatility. But I hope with some price cycles that they'll become comfortable using Bitcoin and not using another stablecoin, which may have additional trade-offs.
All right, thanks.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. My name is Ingolf Pernice. I'm from Weizmann Institute. And I'm an economist by trade, so I might pose a stupid question, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. So I assume that locking Bitcoin into channels is not completely free of risk, right? So, and the fee is not so high. So are you aware of any calculations evaluating this risk-return relationship? Thanks.
Yes. Let's see. So there is some risk, especially if you're operating your own hardware, that your hardware could fail. So this is risk. Some ways to mitigate it. Invest in better hardware. Let's see. The first one I'd mention is buy an uninterruptible power supply. Buy a UPS, which means that if the power goes out ever, you will have a battery backup and give your node an opportunity to gracefully shut down. Now beyond that, I'm moving to more cloud-based solutions. So this might be a somewhat centralizing force, but I'll be able to operate my routing node with very high uptime. Now the risks there are risks of force closure. So that's where myself and the counterparty on that channel would actually have a disagreement. Now that can happen automatically as part of the protocol, or it can happen because my partner in this channel is misbehaving. So with that force closure, that will be a race to get into the mempool to say, I deserve this portion of the channel, and you get that portion. If you try and lie and cheat me, I'm able to prove it, then I'm able to claim the entire channel balance. So this would be a benefit if your channel partner decides to try and cheat you. At the current state, you would be able to claim more funds than you started with. I like this function. It hasn't yet benefited me, but just racing to get into the mempool, you're going to be paying a high fee to be as part of the next transaction. There's some mitigations for that in the protocol, but generally you can price in the cost of a force closure. If I assume that I'm going to be paying $5 or more for a force closure for each channel, I can incorporate that into the fee rate that I charge to provide this routing service. And over the life of the channel, I hope that I'm able to generate more income than the cost of the force closure, which the channel may end in.
Thanks.
I was wondering, is there any way to find out the minimum amount of sats required to open a connection to a node?
Currently, the minimum amount of sats to open a channel is 21,000 sats. So what is that now? $10?
But many channels don't open when you put 20, 30,000 sats. They have higher minimums.
This is true. So at the protocol level, it's quite low. At a functional level, I think for a profitable channel over the life of it, I think you're looking at closer to 4 million sats, which is quite a bit of money. And so this may mean that that some of the node operations will be more concentrated. And we may see some infrastructure like people running LN bits on their Lightning node, which would allow different individuals to have their own wallet, but still use your same routing functions there. So individual consumers, I don't imagine will be opening channels directly to their merchant destinations, and instead they'll be opening a single channel to routing nodes. And I hope that routing nodes would be welcome to these smaller channels that may come from consumers that want to participate directly in the Lightning Network.
So can I use Ambers to find those routing nodes?
Yes, you can. We're working on the search functionality to smooth out that process, but you can search through the minimum channel balances that the nodes report. If they don't have something listed, you can attempt a channel open, and you'll see a rejection message if that channel was too small for that channel, and then you can learn the minimum channel size requirement that way.
So I was looking for that on the Ambers site, and I didn't see that functionality. That's why I was on.
Yeah, it's only nodes that have been claimed on Ambas would be able to add that information. To claim a node, it's simply signing a message from your node. These are great questions. Thank you so much.
One more. Talked about routing nodes and exchanges as separate entities. Is there any reason that needs to be the case, or not, on the other side, is there incentives to be both for an exchange to be a routing node?
Let's see. There might be reasons. I can't think of all of them right now that an exchange would have a separate node for routing services. It might be reasonable. You might do it for legal reasons or simply for accounting purposes. So you can say very clearly, okay, this node performs this function and has this economic behavior, whereas the rest of the exchange, we're focusing on on-chain stuff.
Thank you.
You may also do it for reliability reasons. Really appreciate all the questions, and thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch.
You nailed it.